Hello, this year Campfire Audio decided to revisit their lineup and update many of their models. If I remember right, actually this year they released just one new model, but it was a really good Ara or Era, what it pronounced correctly, I don't know, but I really like their new tuning, new monitoring and reference sound. But besides that, they re-released a few versions of their classics. Andromeda 2020, really good offer. Solaris 2020 I didn't test them, but actually it should be also pretty nice. And of course, two new releases of this fall. It's Vega 2020 and Dorado 2020. And I've decided to start with Vega. It's a bit more affordable. It's $900, single dynamic driver model. And it's a step forward comparing with original Vega, because original Vega started at $1,200, if I remember right. It was what year it was? It was 2016, if I think. Yeah, it was 2016, and it was second dynamic driver model by Campfire Audio. Unfortunately, I didn't test their first version of Lyra, and it was the first model they released in the ceramic shells, and actually they returned to this technology now. And then was Vega, Lyra 2, Atlas. Actually, Atlas was a step forward, and you know, this model is like a mix of Atlas and Lyra and original Vega, because it has ceramic shells like Lyra. It has 10mm amorphous diamond-like carbon diaphragm dynamic driver like Atlas, and it bears name and continue Vega's lineup, but on the new level. So basically, let's probably have a closer look. Package is traditional for the Campfire Audio. I still miss their small boxes because they saved a lot of place in my shelves. But they are really consistent in packaging, and I like that. So for the Vega and Dorado, they chose red boxes with geometry like painting. Looks really pleasant. As usual, they have this seal here. I carefully tear it up and glue it here. And as usual, that experience of unboxing like some kind of rich dessert or box of chocolate, it's a pretty stylish impression. And inside of the box, as usual, we have the expected everything basically. So here it is, new case. This time it's made of fabric, and this color is called Seafoam Green. Pretty nice looking. Inside there is signature double pouch for the earphones and earphones themselves. And here one will get accessories carefully packed into set of bags. Also there is a cleaning tool and few papers. This one is manual for the final audio tips. Also you will get warranty card and manual. So here are these final tips. I like them. It's a really good tips, really comfortable and with a decent sound and nice isolation. You will get 5 pairs of these tips, different sizes, probably one of the best sets of tips in the portable audio world. Also you will have the signature Campfire Audio pin. I think that Campfire Audio need to make some collectibles and put in the accessory set of the earphones. Many people will buy it just for some kind of action figures or something like that. And you will get 3 pair of foam tips and 3 pair of regular black silicone tips. I don't know why they are present here, because I think that 95% of audience will prefer final tips. They are more comfortable, but maybe I'm wrong here and it's just false assumption. As usual, 2 stripes of Velcro to hold everything in place. And let's have the original Vegas on the shelf to compare. So outer part is almost identical, you can see. The main difference is that here used some metal alloy and this one is made of ceramic. Also you can see that pressure relief hole moved to the face plates. Here this pressure relief hole was located here. Maybe they did that to avoid accidental blocking or just from aesthetics ideas, I don't know. And actually you can see that new Vega is a bit bigger in size, and probably it was necessary to accommodate the bigger 10mm driver. Here they use just 8mm and here 10, so it's a bit bigger. As usual, level of craftsmanship is the highest. First of all, the sense of ceramics makes them feel really rich and really nice. You know, they have a bit higher weight comparing with original Vegas, but still it's really pleasant, you know. If you touch some ceramic watch, for example, if you're familiar with this material, you can understand that it feels really premium and solid. And inner part with together with the spout is made of shining, probably it's stainless steel. I don't know what metal it is, I assume that it's stainless steel. It has a good length, so they go pretty deep into your ear, providing slightly above average sound isolation. And they are pretty decent in blocking the external noise. Maybe not perfect, but you know, it will be more than enough for noisy street or for public transport, so with proper tips sound isolation is on the good level. And of course, as usual, there is a lip for holding the tips and really nicely done grill to protect the internals from derbies. And fit and comfort is really nice. They are small, so they fit nicely into small ears. They design it for the over-the-ear wearing, and they have the small size. So pretty nice look. And also they've got Campfire Audio or Elo Audio, not sure who is creator, as it's a sister companies. They have new updated cable. It looks a bit less fancier, probably comparing to this one, but it's a bit softer and with slightly less microphonics, without the memory wire in the ear hooks. I still got no idea why everyone hates this memory wire, but they holding well, cable is holding well around your ears, almost zero microphonics, cable is soft, really comfortable, not getting hard when it's cold, metal splitter, and after splitter it goes braided down to the signature angle jack. So in terms of design, in terms of presentation, in terms of accessory set, everything is done on the superb level, but actually that's what we expect from the Campfire Audio. And their shift towards the ceramics, I think it's a really welcomed step, because ceramics of course feels better, they both models looks nicely, but of course ceramics feels a bit richer, let's say so. And of course about the sound, I gave them about 40 hours of burn-in. Audible sound changes were during first 6 to 8 hours, and after that I got no audible changes, but I continued this burn-in process just in case. And speaking about the sound, Campfire Audio decided to make a step from their Vega, they decided to make a step from the Atlas, and you know, for me it sounds logical, because kind of spoiler, to replace original Vega they tuned Dorado. It sound closer to original Vega, and there were not much sense for them in releasing few models with really similar sound, and for the natural dynamic driver they have Lyra 2, relatively natural of course. For the fun sounding, for bassy sound, they have Atlas, and for the V-shaped signature they have Dorado. It's hybrids, but still they mainly dynamic driver driven model. Sorry for the pun, it was totally intended. So for this model they decided to implement fun, warm and beat analog signature. It's that case, when we say that don't judge man by its clothes, and don't judge earphones by their frequency response. I actually never did that, but there were some discussions of frequency response of this model, but I don't care about the frequency response, mainly because for me listening is more important. When I hear something strange or something that I can't explain, I look at frequency response from time to time, but definitely this is not the model created to be natural, to have linear frequency response, so it's a model for those who like warmer sound signature, for those who like additional weight, and for those who want a bit comfortable sound, because Campfire Audio traditional tuning is pretty intensive on treble, and this model has a bit less treble, actually not even less treble, but the high frequencies here is softer than Campfire Audio usually does. And after all that said, let's have some player on the table to show the examples, and let's proceed. So in terms of bass, you will definitely hear that it's a dynamic driver. You will hear this raw power, this amount of air that dynamic driver pumps. Of course, it's not as resolving as balanced armatures, but it's a model that was not created for that purposes. It's just a compromise. We just giving a part of resolution in exchange to additional weight. Of course, resolution here is still pretty good. Small nuances is present here. Dynamic drivers that Campfire Audio uses, of course, it's pretty fast. It's really technical, but here they reduced its speed a little bit to give more weight, more presence, more meat, let's name it this way, more impact, more depth, so big, meaty bass. It's not super bass heavy model, but it's definitely on the warmer side of things, and Low's accent here is definitely present. And it's not my type of tuning, not the tuning that I usually prefer, but of course giving that level of perfection in tuning here, it's really enjoyable. And of course from time to time with some albums, with some genres, I will listen to this model. And what else I can say about low frequencies? They are a bit highlighted, of course. It's really good with synthesized low frequencies, and really realistic with acoustic instruments, but acoustic instruments are moving a bit closer to you because of accented low frequencies. Models with less technical low frequencies with such bass accent usually exaggerate the size of this acoustic instruments that hit deeper. But this model just moves instruments closer to you, giving you a bit unusual but engaging sonic stage. And speaking about the examples, it's obvious that I couldn't skip Massive Attack. It's band or its group that is focused on the nice low frequencies, and this model is focused on the low frequencies, so it's match made in heaven. And I could select any single track, so Risingson is just random peak, and of course low frequencies sounding really engaging here with all necessary nuances, with good depth, with good weight, so nice experience, and thanks to nice resolution of mids and good imaginary stage, this track sounding impressive. And second example, just, you know, I couldn't skip that, it's another classic, it's Diesel Power by the Prodigy, and this is the model that will give you diesel power and will sounding driving, engaging, and with necessary amount of low frequencies. And of course bass transitions perfectly onto mids. Mids are recessed here. It's basically V-shaped signature, but with not highly elevated treble as some other tunings from the Campfire Audio. And of course, because just a single driver used here, bass transition to mids absolutely smoothly, and they have 100% coherence. Sometimes on the bass heavy tracks, of course, bass is dominating over the mid frequencies, but it's just a matter of physics, it's unavoidable. Because why getting bass heavy model if you don't have dominating low frequencies? Mids have a nice resolution, but they also have a good hint of added weight, and that shifts focus from the micro contrast toward the macro dynamics. They have good resolution, but they are not focused on that. It's hard to explain, but it's so. It's not the model if you like to peep every single nuance, if you like to get smallest details. Details are present, but just hidden by the macro dynamics, they hidden by highlighted emotions, they hidden by the added weight. It's the model if you like macro dynamics and weight, if you like good body for vocal, for instruments, and so on. They are not super critical for the quality of records, but still require good and well mastered and record tracks, so keep that in mind. Imaginary stage is above average in width and in depth. Of course, it's not Andromeda level, it's model with a bit more intimate representation, and as I've said before, they moving some instruments forward, and they're moving male vocals a bit forward, so they extend the depth of stage, giving a bit of artificial depth, but with many tracks it's sounding really nicely. So they have a bit more boosted 3D experience. Not 100% natural or natural, but fun and nice. First example, it's Éric Serra, Sailing to Death. I don't know, have you seen the Big Blue? It's that masterpiece by the young Luc Besson. It's that case when, you know, when some person does something that it likes, and Luc Besson likes the sea, and it's really poetic, really heartwarming, really touching movie. And I'm struggling to say that nowadays they don't make such movies. Of course, good movies are still present, but it's, you know, that film is direct reference to 80s, and huge part of this movie atmosphere is of course caused by soundtrack and by Éric Serra, and it's you know, the soundtrack created in 80s and it sound like created in 80s. Lot of synthesizers, lot of kind of underwater sounds, and really good three-dimensional effects, so really atmospheric soundtrack, and this model definitely deliver it with a good sense of realism. Actually, not proper word to say realism, because it's mainly synthesizers, but still it's good sense of atmosphere, probably, let's say so. And second example track, it's Arena, the Unquiet Sky. I really like Arena, I really like neo-progressive rock, and this track is a great example of what happened if talented people create music, you know, create music. Let's put the period here. It's you know, it's not overcomplicated like some prog metal bands, like for example, but at the same time there are a lot of unusual details, so it's easy listening, but at the same time it's really gorgeous, and a lot of tiny nuances, for example chorus in the introduction and perfect vocal, and many other small nuances that delivered by this model pretty nicely. Of course, a bit of additional weight sounding not 100% natural here, but it fits the spirit of this track. And treble is slightly elevated, but it's not as present as in the original Vega. It's not as present as in many other Campfire audio models, so it's more tailored for those who don't like sparkling or who don't like bright treble. But at the same time, of course, it's not absolutely treble-less model, not absolutely warm, because Campfire Audio couldn't do that, and they left some treble spikes that is necessary to create this sense of treble presence. But did that also really politely, because it would spoil the overall warm signature and warm sense of this model. So they wanted to create a warm model, but a hint of treble is present here. In terms of resolution, it's good, but of course it's a dynamic drivers. It's not piezo tweeter, not balanced armatures, not electrostatics. So attacks and decays are a bit slower, but still they have nice layering, not super, but nice, and they have really good rich overtone saturation that is necessary to represent. But of course, still keep in mind that warmer mids and bass will grab a bit of attention from the treble here. And first example, it's Anathema, really optimistic name of the track, They Die. And Anathema is an unusual example of a band totally shifting and totally changing their genre from the slow and atmospheric doom metal towards the progressive rock. And of course, I like the progressive rock times more. And as usual, as all their tracks, they have nice, good percussion, and this earphones play this part really well. And second example, it's John Zorn, Lonely Woman, great track with a lot of instruments, and of course percussions is present here, as well as a lot of instruments with overtones going to the treble area, and this model plays it not 100% natural, but on the good level for a bass heavy model. In terms of pairing, they are not as sensitive and as low impedance as many other Campfire audio models. Impedance is 36 ohms or somewhere there, I don't remember exact figure, but it's not super high and it's not low. And in terms of sensitivity, Campfire Audio decided to change their measurement. Instead of giving in specifications decibels per milliwatt of power, they give volts RMS necessary to get the particular level of to get 94 decibels of SPL. That's unusual for me, because it's like, you know, like change in Europe, for example, car efficiently is measured by the liters per 100 kilometers, and in the United States efficiency measurement is miles per gallon, so it's changed, it's reversed the measurements, and the same Campfire Audio did with sensitivity, but figures are about two times higher than Andromeda, so basically they are less sensitive than Andromeda, but they don't require tons of power, and at the same time they are more forgiving for the noisy sources, so they're not as noise picking as Ara, Andromeda, Solaris, etc. But they don't require tons of power to be driven, and of course they require a good source, because their perception is 100% a matter of source. They are really subjective to the sources. For example, I like them with FIO M11 Pro, but with M15 they have a bit too much weight to my ears. And with iBasso DX220, you know, they probably should be better, but I don't like this pairing. It's all subjective, please keep that in mind. It's just my subjective taste, because iBasso with its natural and resolving sound just hides a part of this weight, and it spoils a bit of magic here. So basically you need to use with them depth that is not absolutely resolving, and it's not fun colored, let's say. So I got good experience with Shenling, and actually also pretty good experience with Astel & Kern Alpha Cube. Of course with Ultimate's also nice, but actually, you know, I like it with Can Alpha a bit more. Speaking about the comparisons, it's just, you know, it's not much sense in comparing them with anything, because they just sitting aside from the other models in the Campfire Audio lineup. So Andromeda and Solaris, they are more resolving, more technical, so it's models for more audiophilic listening, let's name that this way. Comparing with Atlas, they have a bit less treble, and Atlas has have a bit more like bigger sound. It's closer to real speakers, but sometimes they sounding a bit more fatiguing. This model is more comfortable, more suited for the long listening sessions. And comparing with original Vega, they have a bit less treble, and as I've said, actually new Dorado is closer to the original Vega. So basically it's the new tuning in the Campfire Audio lineup, warmer and weightier signature for those who like such representations. It's really good with male vocals, it's sounding great with acoustic music, with chamber music. It's not suiting, it's less suited for some brutal metal genres, but also it's a matter of preference here, and it's a matter of record quality, because with Iron Maiden, for example, they sounding nicely with early albums. So it's, you know, the model that is more taste based, but it's executed on a really good level. So definitely it's not the model like for everyone that everyone should have in their collection. It's probably a complementary pair, or a pair for those who listen to some fixed set of genres and who prefer such sound. But of course, you know, there were not much sense for the Campfire Audio to release models with the traditional tuning, and in this aspect Vega 2020 is a perfect retuning and perfect reinterpretation of their classical models. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and have a nice day.